I think one of the biggest distinctions between what we do as professional speakers and the average presenter is the use of conversational tones. Now, I'll be honest, this was hard for me in the beginning. Conversational tones is the idea that as a speaker, we don't speak to an audience, we speak with an audience. That it's more of a dialogue than it is a monologue. And I asked my mentor for examples to study on this. You'll never guess. He said, watch comedians. Yeah. He speaks, the audience responds. He speaks, the audience responds. It's a dialogue that creates a relationship. Think of it like this. The next time you stand on the platform, how do you talk to someone over coffee? You sit down. You've got your latte. You've got your blueberry scone. You take a deep breath. You look them right in the eye and you say, hello! I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you for being here with me. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. We're going to talk about how to change the world in 3 easy steps. Let's get started. The first step is blah, blah, blah. We don't talk to our friends that way. What do we really say? Man, you won't believe what happened to me at the store yesterday. Sit down. I got to tell you this. Or we say, there's been something on my mind for a long time now. I just want to talk with you about it. The point is, it's conversational. It's easy to listen to. It doesn't sound like a performance. Even if it is scripted and rehearsed, it sounds casual. Like a group of people talking at a cocktail party. I used to think I was good at speaking. I'd been a store manager for a couple of years and really thought I had it down. After the workshop, I realized there's a level I didn't even know existed. It's not the first time this has happened to me either. If you'd have known me back in my high school days, I was captain of the drum line. And probably one of the best, if not the best, snare drummer in my whole city. I was very confident. So confident, I auditioned for one of the top drum corps in the United States. So I'm at my audition. Right? I march in the auditorium. I stand right in the center of the stage. And I stood those judges dead in the face. The head judge was Tom Float. And Tom is probably the finest snare drummer in the world. Well, I stood to attention, whipped out my sticks, marked time with my feet, and I played like my life depended on it. I was good. Well, Tom walks up to me, looks me in the eye and says, kid, you're pretty good. How often do you practice? Now, proudly, I said, an hour a day. He said, oh, better make it 4 hours, and maybe we'll use you next year. Have a nice day. I'm thinking what you're thinking. Ow! Well, I look back on it and I realized that was the day. That was the day I learned what the next level looks like. I learned that even though I was good, I wasn't great. And I wouldn't be. What I needed was world-class instruction. And apparently a lot of practice. You know, if there's one thing I've learned in the last couple of years, it's that taking some time to improve your speaking can unlock incredible opportunities you never even thought possible. I mean, I never thought I would manage the biggest music store in the world. I don't have a better way to say this. If you're not speaking about what you do for a living, it is literally costing you a fortune. You know, I believe that public speaking is the most underrated, underused leadership skill in today's business world. I mean, all leaders are speakers. Look at business leaders like Steve Jobs and maybe Warren Buffett. How about spiritual leaders like Joel Osteen, who leads the biggest church on earth? I mean, the obvious one is political leaders like Barack Obama. And whether you like him or not, the fact is he has won millions of followers primarily based on the strength and eloquence of his speaking. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I've never really been good at speaking in public. Or some of you say, hey, I've had a fear of speaking my whole life. And you know, you're not alone. We've all heard the facts. Isn't it like 95% of the population isn't just scared, they're terrified at the idea of speaking to an audience. They say public speaking ranks #1 as people's greatest fear. You know what #2 is? Yeah, death. Death is #2? I mean, Jerry Seinfeld said it best. To the average person, if you have to be at a funeral, you'd rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy. And I can relate. I was one of those people. When I started my career with Guitar Center, my mentor was Ron Bicknell. And Ron was an amazing speaker. I mean, his sales meetings would be the highlight of my whole week. Well, Ron calls me in his office one day, sits me down and says, Jason, I believe you're going to be a leader in our company someday. And I said, oh, Ron, I could never be a leader. Not like you. And he says, why not? Now watch this. Because I could never speak to an audience the way you do. Now, I was 19 when we had that talk. By the time I was 22, I had my own store and I was speaking twice a day. I never would have made it as far as I did in Guitar Center without speaking. Now, I'd like you to just consider this idea that the key to the next level of success for you, no matter how successful you already are, is to improve your public speaking. This is a huge opportunity, really, for all of us.